I know this whole thing comes off as, some would say, shallow and pedantic, but this is about enhancing an experience. Nope. Welcome to Drip, Sweat, and Gears and the hovel of heinous home entertainment. We are here in my Garage and EDU project, and in the last video that we did here, my contractor work inside this place is basically done. There might be a couple of little things to do here and there, but all of the major work is done, and I have begun to move my office in and do all of the cable management and really get this place dialed in to be an awesome space. And that included building some computer tables, setting up my computers, running wires, and setting up my TV and home entertainment system. Now, that's when I realized that I only can wire up my stereo with 3 speakers. I could do 3.1 with a subwoofer, and I've got nothing in back. You may be able to see in camera that I have a speaker over there and a speaker over there, but they're not wired up to anything, so they don't work. And when I sat down to tune the stereo, I put on an episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is really good surround sound, and that's when I realized I needed to drop everything and wire up these rear speakers because it sounded insane. And so with that revelation, it dawned on me that today is a good day to try hard. If you're not familiar with the Try Hard series, it began as a car audio project for my Honda Prelude. I posted a picture of my car audio setup with the subwoofers in the trunk facing the back of the car about 6 inches away from the back. And that drew the ire of all of the internet experts telling me that I was an idiot and I had no idea what I was talking about, especially when it came to acoustics and surroundings around a stereo and how that affects your listening experience. I've continued that theme on through multiple iterations of my car stereo with the intent of doing a car audio series dedicated to Try Hard, and now that has branched out to home entertainment. So let me pick up the camera, I'll show you what I've got, and then we'll do some sampling, and we're going to get to work. This is obviously not going to be the same listening experience for you as it is for me, but let me run through the steps that I need to turn this thing on. So I have everything run into my Onkyo receiver. I've got my computer over there run into it, and I've got a Roku streaming stick plugged directly into the back of that. That's all powered through the outlets in the wall right now. I still need to order a power supply. It's temporarily plugged in right now, but I have some J channels running to the wall and some really nice cable management that we'll be able to make use of later on. So now I've turned on the Onkyo receiver. I'm going to make sure that we are switched over to Streambox, and we should start seeing the Roku interface very soon. So now I've got the Roku remote. 3 remotes. If you've done this before, you know 3 remotes is like bare minimum. You have to have a minimum of 3 remotes. It's crazy. I could probably try to get a universal remote to tie these all together, but I'm going to hold off on that until I get the TV that I want. So now we're going to go over to Paramount. So I'm only going to play a few seconds of this because I don't want any kind of copyright issues, especially from Paramount. And so you really get a great sound out of the subwoofer. The speakers are crystal clear. It sounds great. I don't want to play anymore because I don't want to get hit with a copyright. So that's all we're going to do. Next, we want to switch over to music because that's really important to me. And so now I'm going to open up, I'm going to switch over to Bluetooth on the input. I'm going to put on Desecrate because we have permission to play it from the artist. And we're going to connect. There we go. And so when I turn it way up, it's really good. It could use an equalizer to kind of dial in the levels, at least for me and my try-hardiness. But it sounds great. We have a really great bass coming out of that subwoofer that's over there. Really, this is even almost overpowered for this space. It sounds great though. So if I want a true 5.1 surround sound experience, I got three options, really. One, I could run wires all the way around the room, all ghetto, to the rear speakers. I'm not going to do that. That's not an option here. Another option is to go wireless, but I know some industry experts, and I have heard bad things about basically all wireless setups, especially given the amount of money that they require to get it all working. So I decided to go with the third option. That is to install a plate behind the TV and run the wires up the wall, into the attic, and down to where I want the speakers. The goal of this project is to maximize my listening experience while spending as little money as possible. I've ordered all the parts I need for this, and it came out to roughly $100, not more than that. And it could have been even cheaper if I had just gone with basic wiring, but I decided that I wanted to go with the fire shielded wiring just in case the inspector pokes his head up into the attic. I don't want him to ask any questions. So this is a cheap project that is going to really improve my experience in my ADU. The first step in this whole process is probably the worst, and that is to cut holes. This is where we find out if I'm going to have a good day or a bad day, because I really don't like cutting holes in drywall, but here's what we got to do. So I am going to find a spot kind of right in between two studs. I know there's a stud around here. I know there's a stud here. In fact, I can feel this stud right there. So I'm going to drill a hole right in the middle, and this is where we're going to put our box. In order to get this up to the ceiling, I have to make another hole so that I can drill a hole through the fire break. And that is somewhere in this area right about there. And then I have to make another hole up in the ceiling so that I can drill a hole through the top plate. From there, I have to run the wire through here. I have taken down all of my Star Trek figures so that I can run the box. I'm probably going to put it right somewhere in the middle-ish, because if I decide later on that I want to wall mount the speaker, I'm going to try to find a good spot for that. In fact, I probably want to put it kind of towards the top, because if I'm going to have it towards the top there, it only makes sense to have it up around there, kind of close to the line of the closet there. So I'm going to cut a hole there, and then we'll just run a wire down to the speaker. That's all going to be concealed by Star Trek figures anyway. And the same thing with over here. I'm going to put a hole and a box right around where the AC and HVAC unit is here, kind of right around there. Hopefully that all works out. I've got some old work boxes to make my life a little bit easier. You just stick it in the wall, and then you turn these screws, and they kind of hold to the back of the wall. The tools I'm going to use to do this, I'm going to cut the holes with my multi-tool. This is an awesome tool. You can cut really nice holes, hopefully. I can cut nice boxes. I've got my drill, of course. I've also got an angle drill just in case I need it, and auger bits. So the auger bits are going to get through the fire break and the top plates. And then to pull it all through, I've got these fishing poles. These are glow, what are they called? What's the real word? Glow fish rod set. They are fishing rods. So that is going to be helpful in the attic where it's going to be a little bit dark, even though we have a light in the attic. This is going to be really helpful. I'm procrastinating because I don't want to do this. Let's get going. Well, that worked out really well. The mid-flex fishing pole turned out to be the perfect tool for this job. As you can see, I cut this hole probably way bigger than it needed to be. And that hole, well, about appropriately sized, because it worked. Huge thank you to my wife for coming in and helping me push the fishing line while I pulled it from up in the attic. My arms are very, very itchy. Lesson learned, wear sleeves next time I go up there. So I have both lines pulled through. I made sure to unravel plenty of line to reach either that one or that one before making my cut. And I taped it to the side of that little stool so that I didn't end up pulling too much through. Coming up into the attic, the first thing that I'm really grateful for is this little utility light. That's going to serve me very, very well for many years to come as I continue making improvements in this ADU. So you see way down there, that jumble of wires over there, that's where I push everything through. I have the wire pulled all the way over here, and we're ready to run it down into the walls. So now that everything is done, I've got the wall patched up and the rear speakers are all wired up. Let's give this a test. So first, we're going to go back to Star Trek and play literally a few seconds. Hopefully this doesn't get me into any trouble. And if it does, I'm just going to have to cut it out, and you'll see just an abrupt cut to the end of it. So let's switch over to Streambox. And we should flip back over to the Roku interface. And crank it up a little bit. Oh, dude. It is completely different. It sounds so good. Let's pause that because I don't want to get in trouble. It sounds so good. Just hearing the rear speakers adds so much to the ambiance of this thing. One of the issues that I had when I was tuning this thing off camera was that it would constantly switch over to the TV input. There is a menu that you go through in the Onkyo remote that takes you to some option where you can, I don't know if it's quick menu. It's not quick menu. It's actual menu. So there's a setting in here called HDMI setup, and this option that says ARC here, you want to turn that off. That will keep it from automatically switching inputs. And once I did that, everything got way, way better, way less frustrating, and I was able to make this whole setup work correctly. And then from there, I was able to tune the speakers, the distance, and the input levels, and it's amazing. You can't hear it as well as I can, but it sounds really, really great. Let's switch over to Bluetooth again. We're going to pick up where we left off with Desecrate. We got Bluetooth, and we're playing on the phone, switching over. And it's like, it's better than a concert because I'm hearing it completely all around me. It's awesome. All right, so given that this is an episode of Try Hard, we need to find out, does this sound better than my car stereo? There's only one way to find out. Welcome to my Prelude. It's very dirty on the outside of this car, but on the inside, it's still quite nice. We have the battery on a tender, so the trunk is open, so we might not get the greatest sound in the world, but it's still going to be pretty good. I've got Desecrate queued up, and let's give this a try. I don't know, that sounds pretty good. That sounds really good. I think one of the reasons why it sounds really good in here is because this is an enclosed cabin. We don't have any kind of echoes of sound bouncing off of hard surfaces like drywall. In here, it's all just, fabrics and soft touch things and not a whole lot of echo happening inside the car. Um, but the only way to really find out is to even the playing field. This car is using this awesome little Kudalix equalizer. I want to bring that upstairs and see if it makes a difference. Okay, well, it seems I don't have a 3.5mm available, but I really want to see what this little thing can do with my home audio setup. So we need to get this thing for science. I've got it pulled up on Amazon, and I'm going to make the order, and as soon as it comes in, we're going to give this a try. Hard. We're going to try hard, because we're trying hard. I have the Kudalix set up on the floor over there because I needed to run power to it from a temporary spot. I have it connected to my receiver through the cable sat port, and it is set up, and I've been playing around with it for about 10 minutes trying to get everything dialed in as good as I can using copyrighted music, but nonetheless, let's try with Desecrate with the Kudalix running into my stereo receiver. So next up, I want to get a comparison of what it sounds like with the Kudalix on and off. And as you can tell, I mean, I can certainly tell, you might not be able to tell as well as I can, it certainly makes a huge difference. It is a huge improvement being able to fine-tune the EQ of the signal going into the receiver, but it's not really better. It's not better than the car stereo anyway. Let's turn this off and we'll do a post-mortem. I have some thoughts. So what does this mean? Well, it means that my car stereo sounds better. I mean, objectively, if you're really going for the pure try-hardiness of the whole thing, the Prelude sounds better. And that is because of the acoustics of the car, mainly. Also have high-quality speakers in the Prelude. I have high-quality speakers here. This is all Klipsch. This is, well, not all Klipsch. The front speakers and the subwoofers are Klipsch. The rear are Polk Audio, which are, I would say they're good entry level. And the Klipsch is, high entry level to low intermediate level. This is not an expensive setup by any means. That said, it's also not cheap. I acquired these speakers, a pair at a time over the course of about 2 years. And I can swap these out. I can improve on the system, but this is pretty good for what it is. And for being a home theater setup, it's amazing. Watching movies sounds way better. Sounds incredible. So does it sound better overall as a holistic experience? I would say it depends. Here's the thing with listening to music in the car. You're typically driving the car and enjoying the experience of music and the car in a complete package. And it definitely sounds great objectively when you're listening to music. But as an experience, it is a completely unique experience from listening to anything on a home audio setup. Because for one, going back to being a tryhard, the acoustics are way different in here. And I would have to put a lot of work into the acoustics of the room And some of this stuff is really impractical, if not impossible, to get a high quality music recording style sound in here. Music sounds objectively much better with vaulted ceilings, and in larger spaces, you don't want a box. You want things to absorb sound or to creatively reflect it in different places so that you create an atmosphere of music. And that's something you can't get in a car. So this space, while it could be configured for that, maybe, it's never going to be at that level of I am a true tryhard. Now that said, this home audio setup is great for what it is. And that is for getting together with some friends, sitting on the couch with my wife, eating popcorn, eating pizza, hanging out, and having a good time. And so when it comes to that experience, this is not going to be replicated with a car. Period. Full stop. And when it comes to listening to music, well, I typically don't listen to music off of my phone through the Koodalix the way that I would in my car. Typically, when I listen to music through this audio setup, it's through a computer. And at the computer, I can load up software that dials in the equalizer. On my gaming computer, I use Voicemeeter Potato. Even in that scenario, it's going to be a completely different experience altogether, because usually when I listen to music up here, it's because I'm working, I'm writing code, I'm in a completely different headspace, and I'm trying to solve problems. It's not a sit down at the couch and enjoy this, or sit down and, these are all very different experiences with different requirements to have a fulfilling experience. I know this whole thing comes off as, some would say, shallow and pedantic, but this is about enhancing an experience. And I've definitely moved up to the next level with this surround sound, and I'm really glad I did it because it was not a huge effort. The project went way more smoothly than I thought it would. I hate cutting holes in walls, but I had this thing, cut, run, and patched in a day. So I really have nothing to complain about. This was a huge success. I spent almost nothing on this project too. That is also what made it a huge win. I didn't have to invest thousands of dollars. And I think in order to achieve an objectively better experience, something that would be noticeably better to the, average person walking in the door, in order to achieve that next level experience, I would have to spend thousands. And I'm not going to do that. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. If you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you don't like what you see, maybe you're a bigger tryhard than I am. If you have some AV advice, drop a comment and let me know what you think. I welcome the input, and if you tell me I'm a moron, I'll pin it to the top, and, we'll have some fun. Thank you, and remember, live free or try hard.